In this presentation, we will continue on to part 2 of our bank reconciliation for the second month of operations, this time focusing on the decreases to the checks to the withdrawals from the bank account. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Online. Here we are in our Get Great Guitars file. We're first going to be opening up some reports. We're going to go down to the reports on the bottom left. We're going to be opening up first the balance sheet report. Let's open up the balance sheet report. And we're going to be changing the dates up top. So I'm going to change the dates up top for the 2 months of operations that we've had thus far. That's going to be 01/01/20 to 02/29/20. We're going to go ahead and run that report. And I'm going to duplicate this report. I'm going to right click on the tab up top and duplicate it. I'm going to make this a little bit larger so we can see it. Recalling our objective is going to be reconciling as of February 29th, the checking account, the 105,577.46, which is on our books, to what is on the bank statement, which is 105,811.54. And we have started this reconciliation process, checking off the deposits in the reconciliation process, now moving on to the checks. Let's go back on over to the QuickBooks. We're going to go back to the first tab, hold down Control, and scroll down a bit back to that 100 so we don't mess anything up. QuickBooks doesn't do anything funny. And then we're going to go to the accounting. We're going to go down to the reconcile. We're going to resume the reconciliation, which we had started last time. I'm going to bring it back up to 110% here because I think it can handle that without doing anything crazy. And then we're on all over here. Last time we looked at the deposits. This time we're going to be looking at the payments. So we're going to go through the payments. Note the payments are often a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging because they're going to be in order oftentimes by date. But the dates, remember, on the bank statement aren't always as clear because you're going to have a lot more lag if you are dealing with checks between the date that we put the information in the system and the date they were deposited. And depending on the vendor, they could be, different vendors will take a lot more lag to put that information into the system than others. If we're dealing with electronic transfers, then it should be more straightforward and there should be less lag on it. So you could try searching by check number. If you write a lot of checks, can be useful to write checks because the check number should then show up and you can sort by check numbers if you so choose. Our strategy is always going to be going from the bank statement to the bank reconciliation. Why? Because if it's on the bank statement, it should be on our books. If it's not, we probably made a mistake. We probably need to adjust something. If it's on the books, but it's not on the bank statement, it may be okay because it may be an outstanding item. Those are the things we're looking for. Now, also note that with these checks, when we reconciled last time, we had these checks. These checks this is my bank reconciliation for January. These checks that were written in January that didn't clear in January. They weren't on the January bank statement. We would expect to see them this time to clear on February. We would expect to see these in the February bank statement. Let's see if that is indeed the case. We're looking for that, that 360, that 500, that 11,000. So, there's the 360, the 11,500. Looks like those are clearing here. So let's go through these. We got the 11,000. I'm going to select this item. I'm going to minimize, and we're going to go to the 11,000. Here it is there. Note, again, it's not in the same order as it is on the bank statement. That's okay. Also note that this one was written in January. So it was written in January, didn't clear. This is when it was written. It didn't clear the bank statement until February, and that's why we have to do this process. So it cleared in February. It didn't clear in January. All right. Next one's going to be the 500. And then if we go back over, here's the 500. Now that one has an actual check number. So notice I'm kind of checking off by basically number, which can be a little risky because you might have the duplicate numbers. If you have another verification such as the check number here, or sometimes if it's electronic transfers, they'll have the payee on the bank statement, which will give you another verification that you're picking up the right number and not some other duplicated number. So there's the 1005 on the check number to give us that more verification. There's the 360. Here is the 360. So that looks good. I opened it up on accident. Here's the 360. That looks good. Then I'm going to right click on this and green it. Then we got the 353933. So here's the 353933. So Adam Hamilton, that looks good. So let's go ahead and green that one. Here's the 630. So 630, here's the 630. And I'm going to check that one off. And again, if they're electronic transfers, you may have more detail on the bank statement to give you a little bit more verification. If they're checks, then of course you have the check number. Then we have the 1359. So the 1359, here's the 1359. Going to go back over here and green that one off, green it off. Then we have the 168. So the 168, here's the 168. That looks good. Going to go back over and make that one green. Here's the 1359. So I'm going to go back over here. Do we have a 1359? We do. Here's one down here. Chase. That looks good. Going to go back over and green that one off. And then we've got the 12337. 12337. Do we see a 12337? I don't see one. So that's a problem. I'm going to skip that one for now. I'm going to go back over and say, all right, that's funny. I got the 830. 830, so 830. Do we see an 830? I don't see that one. And then I'm going to go back over here. We have a 648. 648. We have a 648 here. And then I'm going to go back to our account. I'm going to say, okay, I see that one. And then we have a 351271. So we got a 351271. I see that one. So that looks good. So I'm going to go back over here and say, all right, I don't see these two on there. So either, if that's the case, either there's an amount that was in our books, like one of these amounts on our books, possibly was input with the wrong number in it, right? Possibly we put it into the data input with the wrong number in it, or it's something that didn't get input into the system at all. So one of those two are typically going to be the case. Now, if we're talking about if it was a check, then if we're talking about these two as being checks, we can then go look at the cleared checks. We can actually get the cleared checks and look at the actual cleared checks. And that could give us an idea, of course, of the vendor and whether or not we have entered it into our system or not. If it's an electronic transfer, then like we say, we should be able to look into it and get more detail about the vendor, because oftentimes the bank will provide us more detail in terms of the transaction related to an electronic transfer, like a vendor name or some type of number like that. Now we also have these two amounts down here, the withdrawals and the bank charges, which of course aren't on our system. The withdrawals are going to be cash that was taken out. The bank charges are going to be the bank charges that we weren't aware of. So I'm going to say that we need to add then these four items. These four items need to be in our system. I'm going to say that they're not in our system here. And now we're going to have to basically go in there and add them. So we're going to go back into QuickBooks and say, all right, and I'm going to go out of here. I'm going to go into our accounting. And we want to go to the chart of accounts. We're going to go back into the chart of accounts. I'm going to be picking up the checking accounts. So I'm going to hold down Control, scroll down a bit. We're back at 100%, so it's not doing that funny thing it was doing for a second there. We're going to go into the register related to the checking account, and we're going to add these transactions. So I'm going to select the drop down up top. If I select the drop down, we're going to record these as expense items. That's the form we're going to use. So it's going to be an expense that we'll put into the register. And I'm going to put these in there as of these dates. So 2/28. So I'm going to say 02/28 020. And then the payee, which we would have to look at the clear check or the electronic transfer to see what that would be. I'm going to say this one went to a vendor for window repairs, which I'm going to say was Easy Window Repairs. That's going to be the company name. I'm going to add that. I'm going to save that vendor. And I'm say tab. And I'm going to put this into, this is going to be for the 12337. So 123.37. And I'm going to put that into a repairs and maintenance type of account. Let's see if we have that in the expenses. If I go down through the expenses, we're looking for repairs and maintenance. There it is. Repairs and maintenance. We'll select that item. And then I'm going to say save. And so that's that one. Let's do the next one, which was on the 28th as well. I'm going to use the same vendor, Easy Window Repairs. And that's going to be for the 830. So I'm going to put 830. And once again, that's going to go to the repairs and maintenance. So I'm going to add those two. and those should show up on the reconciliation now. Now I'm going to add the withdrawals. So withdrawals for 100. I'm going to say this happened on the 29th. I'm going to say that this was a withdrawal. It's going to be a payment for 100. Now this time I'm going to ask the owner, hey owner, we're doing your bookkeeping here. Is this a withdrawal that's going to be on an expense like it was last time, miscellaneous, or was it for personal use? Now this time we're going to assume, what if he says it's for personal use? Now this is a personal use type of draw. Then we don't want it on the income statement. We need to put it to some type of equity account. It needs to go into some type of equity account. Let's see if QuickBooks has an appropriate equity account. So if I scroll through these, I'm looking for the equity. We have capital. That's the main equity. We could put it there. We don't want to put it into the opening balance equity. That's not what you usually use. It's kind of a plug account. Owner's investment, that's the money going in. And owner's pay and personal expenses. So this sounds like the draws account that they're using. So we're going to put it into the owner's pay and personal expenses. Remember, the key is it's an equity account, therefore not going to be on the income statement. So that's what we're going to use this time. Last time he said he used it for personal use, so we put it on miscellaneous expense. This time, we're going to put it into this equity account. So I'm going to say save and close, or just save. And then we got one more for the bank fees. So the bank fees were this month were $20. So I'm going to put $20, and that's going to be the bank service charges, bank charges and fees, something like that. And then we'll go ahead and save that one. All right. Now let's go back to the bank reconciliation, see if we can wrap it up. I'm going to go to our hamburger, open up the hamburger, and then we're going to go down to accounting. And we will then go into the reconcile, and then I'll close the hamburger, and let's scroll back down a bit. I'm at 90. That's too far down. 100. And then I'm at resume. Let's resume the reconciliation. I would like to resume the reconciliation. Bring it back up to 110 if I can. It's going a little slow here. Something's wrong with it. And we're going to go to the payments. Now I'm going to see if I can find that 123.37 that we have added. So there it is, 123.37. So we can green off this one. We're going to green it. And then there's the 830. The 830, there's the 830 we've added now. So that looks good. And I'm going to green that one off. And then we have the 100 down here, the 100, which we have added. There's the 100. So we'll green that one off. And there's the 20. So there's the 20. And so there we have this. So you could see how this, and that brings us back down to 0 with a nice little green check that makes us feel secure that everything has been accomplished as it should have. And so that's, you can see how you'd basically need to fix anything if it's on the bank statement, not on our books. It's probably not the case that those checks were wrong. But it could give us an indication if, something happened, like a charge that we didn't facilitate and we'd want to look into it or something like that. That's another kind of reason you want to do the bank reconciliation. So then if I go back over here, these are the items that are outstanding. So we have a few of them. This one's on the 27th, but it went to the sales tax, went to the government. So it could have taken them a while to process that one. So, and then we have this one going to the Internal Revenue Service, same story. And then we have down here, these ones are on the 29th, so it would make sense if, that they might still be outstanding. So it doesn't look too unusual that they're outstanding, but again, we can check them. How? Because we're reconciling as of the end of February, therefore that we're probably doing this sometime in March. We can go check our bank statement and see if these have cleared in the month of March. So next time, we're going to finish the bank reconciliation up here. Then we're going to take a look at the reconciliation report, which will recall these differences. It'll print out these differences as the differences between the bank balance and the book balance.